Welcome to Adults Only Comedy Berlin. Today we have Gauri B.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
It's like, after okay.
All good. Gauri B is like you prefer to have a B as your stage name. You've got a longer surname, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just think it's got like a nice ring to it, like Gauri B.
It does. Gauri B. It sounds it's like a bit like Cardi.
Yeah, everybody says that. And I was like, I think I was first. I don't know.
I think like age-wise, that's impossible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She definitely.
True.
Yeah, it's not. You're not.
In my head, I still think I was first.
Yeah, I like
it's
it.
like, it's very original. I think it's original. I think I probably heard of her, but it's still me. I don't think I stole it.
No, I don't. Well, the thing is, I also get called Anna B.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Anna B.
Yeah.
AB, Anna B.
AB.
AB.
AB is nice.
Yeah.
And Anna B is also nice.
Yeah.
It's not
Anna B. Yeah, I like it. The B is a good surname letter. Like what, you know.
Yeah, it's like a nice way to end it. B.
And then you can add an
B.
adjective as well.
Like what?
Like Anna B chilling.
Actually,
Gauri B styling.
Yeah, comedy. Gauri B comedy. Anna B comedy.
Gauri B funny.
Yeah, please be funny. Why don't you try that? Why don't you be funny?
No, I mean like as in, you know, like ghetto talk. Like I'd be hungry, you know, like you'd be funny.
Yeah. That's it.
Ghetto talk.
But that is that an adjective? Yeah, that's an adjective.
It really is. I'm so glad we're already onto grammar. That's sexy. I love grammar. Oh my god, I love grammar. Do you speak German?
Yes.
You do speak German?
Yeah.
Are you gonna do German comedy?
No.
Well, that's a very definitive rejection.
Yeah, it is. I just learned German because I wanted to have a respectable job that would pay my bills so I could do comedy on the side. And honestly, who needs comedy? I think German comedians don't want to do comedy in German, you know? That's why they also do it in English.
Oh, there are a few that are really happy with German comedy and don't want to do it in English.
Yeah, I've never heard of them.
Okay. The two guys that run the show on Sunday evening at the Wall here. We're again recording at the Wall Comedy and in Friedrichshain. Thank you, Josta Fau. No, his name is Foster Yao. That's the... I'm not hungover at all. I've got it
Not
together.
at all,
I'm
no.
so sharp right now.
Totally.
Sharp. But they are super into Falk and Hans are like, they're like German comedy is a thing. And they love it.
Cool.
Yeah, and
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've really encouraged me to do it, and I really enjoy doing it. And
Wow.
they really need more women. Like every comedy scene needs more women,
Yeah.
but the German comedy scene really also needs more. And so like it's very satisfying making a crowd laugh.
In German.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, making a German crowd laugh.
Yeah, in German, like
Yeah.
using their language against them to make them do what they don't want to
It's
do.
revenge, motherfuckers.
Seriously, it feels like the level of satisfaction I get. I love like when I have a really great English show, amazing. But when I do well in German, it's just like, oh my god. The buzz is like, it's just so much stronger because
Yeah.
I've overcome so much more to get that result.
Yeah, so much fear and just history and hard work.
And shame, you know, like the amount of judgment you get for, you know, speaking poor German. Like foreigners don't realize, okay, wow, that sounded terrible, but
Immigrants.
like people who live in, you know, people like Germans don't realize how forgiving we are of their English.
That's true.
They don't realize how, and everyone here forgets that, you know, native English speakers are so forgiving of mistakes. I don't correct anybody, like unless I really don't understand them, and then I'm like, oh, you mean that? You didn't mispronounce that. That was just different, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
So where are you from?
Melbourne.
Ah, no way.
Yes way.
But you're so nice.
Oh, thank you. You don't like Melburnians?
No, I do, but some of them are just racist.
Oh yeah, no, a lot of actually Melburnians are the least racist of the Australians.
Ah, okay. So what's like the most racist part?
We would say like I would say the west or the north.
Okay, so like what city is that?
I could say Brisbane, Gold Coast. Let's say Gold Coast.
Gold Coast is racist.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the gold and then I don't know.
that-
That's an unfair thing to say, but
Yeah, I mean like just like
but the stereotype. The
yeah.
further away you get from like the main economic centers
Yeah.
or cultural centers, then the more racist
yeah. Yeah.
You lived in London. Is that why you've got Soho in your Instagram name?
No.
No? Okay.
No. I have family in London.
Me too.
Oh, nice. Like close family or just?
My mom and my stepdad.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. So
And a
pretty
dog.
Close.
There's a dog
As
there
close
too.
as it gets.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah. And
Yeah.
your family there?
Yeah, so I have my uncle is based in London, and so I go there for Christmas, New Year's, but Soho is just like whore. It's like short for whore.
You reckon?
That's Soho.
The whore.
The whore.
The whore.
Yeah.
I
Like the prostitute, the sex worker, but I am not none of those things. It's
no,
just a
you never sold your body for money?
No.
You've got a beautiful Instagram profile.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've got some beautiful photos. Who is taking your photos?
It's a very, very cool photographer called Felix, and I love the colors. He uses the film camera, and he has like a very cool eye.
Yeah. So
And-
your Instagram is that Soho?
It was,
or-
it was that Soho, and now I just recently changed it to it's Gauri B.
Okay, cool.
And I did it because a lot of people just didn't get
Yeah.
that it's obviously.
I'm a whore. No.
But like, yeah, it's like it's meant to be like super funny and empowering, and now it's like also part of my bit where it's like, because in India, slut or prostitute is such a big insult, you know. It's like it's not such a big insult, actually. It's the other way around. It's every woman with a job is a prostitute, you know. That's what they
Wow. So like if you're
everyone
getting
is-
paid, you've only got that position because someone wants to fuck you in that organization.
yeah, or
something
like you're
that.
wearing a certain kind of clothes, or that you're sharp, or you're too smart, or you think you're too overconfident, you know. You're a slut or whatever. It's so
Yeah.
easy to
Yeah.
like just like, a woman with thoughts and opinions, or just like a woman just trying to be herself. It's so easy to label them in a certain category that
Yeah.
is, you know.
Just reduce them to their sexual, potential, or just their physical, objectify them.
Yeah. And I got so pissed. There was a while where, I got so pissed that I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to say that Soho. Everything I do is slutty. I am a slut. Fuck it.
Yeah,
You
baby. Five. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, if you actually want to insult me, just say something that would really hurt, like, call me the mother of your children. That's like disgusting. Or call me a stay-at-home wife or something. That would hurt me. I have so much respect for women that are homemakers, but that's just not for me, and
Yeah.
that would hurt me. So call me that. But like, fuck it. I call myself and my friends a slut. So like,
Yeah.
fuck you. Be
Yeah.
creative.
You gotta. Well, I'm very strong on reclaiming it, and my main thing in comedy is to really push sex positivity and to
Adults only comedy.
Yeah,
Love it.
exactly. and just to really like, guys can talk about their dicks, and I love hearing about men's penises. Like, I love that. But we also need to have that balanced, and and it's so interesting still, some audiences that get so shocked by the mention of menstrual blood, or get so shocked by like, it still has such a shock factor talking about your pussy, and it's like, dude, like every second comedian is talking about his dick. Like, let's normalize this. Come on.
Yeah, why not?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But being a slut is so important. Like, why wouldn't you fuck around and find out what you like doing, or why wouldn't you just be able to express yourself and however you want?
Yeah. And also, like, why would you just use the word in a negative way? Why would somebody who's just like, maybe you're just intimidated by that person because that person is super gorgeous and beautiful and just speaks her mind, and you're just intimidated, so you would bring her down and you would just call her a slut, and that's so stupid.
Yeah, it's what can we call, like, do you have a thing that you say to so you're like, you should call me this or this, but do you have a thing that you say to people that use the word slut as a derogative? Like, is there something you throw back at them?
No, just like maybe the first insult that would come to my mind. I don't know. This happened. Do you know that Germany is actually also super conservative?
Yeah.
It's of course.
I've been here 6 years, yeah. It's very Christian, right?
Yeah, it's like if you go to a small town, because before I was in Berlin, I was in a couple of small towns, and I was in Darmstadt, and it was like
Where were you?
In Darmstadt, it's near Frankfurt.
Okay.
And I studied there, did my master's, and I was just walking. It was a hot summer day, like touching 37 degrees, and I was walking back from my boyfriend's house, and I was wearing like, I don't know, like a skirt and like a super hangover. It was like it was not even like dressed up, just like a skirt and like probably a sweatshirt. I was walking, and there was a 80-year-old woman walking so slowly, like with her stick, and like when she came super close to me, she called me something like "duschlampe." Okay, and I was.
What?
It took me a while
Yeah.
to register what she said. I just kept on walking, and I was like, what? Did she call me a schlamper? That's slut. And then I just turned around and I was like, Entschuldigung, excuse me, what did you say? And it's like she just started walking like faster. I was like,
Coward. Oh my.
I so wanted to just kick her.
Absolutely. Just take the stick away. See what happens.
Something like that.
Yeah,
But
you're the one holding the stick so tight. Who's the slut? I don't know. It's so hard to come back, like get comebacks in time.
It's shocking.
Yeah. It's like, it makes me so angry. It makes me so angry. Or even it makes me really angry just also when men on the street will say something like, even if they just look at me and they're like, or something like that. I'm just like, fuck you. Like I want to fight them. It's like,
yeah. No, I think it's important to call it out because every time somebody tries to say anything on the street, and sometimes they come super close to you and they whisper in your ear and then they walk away so that only you hear it, but they do it in a public place. So I just always turn around and I just shout. I'm always like, excuse me, what did you say? Can you repeat it? Can you say it once more? And then the person is always like surprised, like, what? Sorry, what do you mean? And like he's like, nothing happened. But I think it's so important to call it out so that they like, before they do it once again, they think the consequences of like something can happen. It's not consequence free. And I just hate how it just immediately makes you feel objectified and reduced. And it's like, you couldn't even have an intelligent conversation with me, probably. Like, you are not at my level intellectually, probably. You could never even touch me. So fuck you for, reducing me to this sexual object in a public place. You have no right to even look at me like that. Like, okay, you can look at me like that, but don't you dare interact with me with your mouth. Yeah.
Makes me so angry. My nose is running. Oh, okay. Yeah. So how long have you been outside of India?
That would be now. So I moved to Germany in 2016.
Okay. Same as me.
16. Yeah. That was the year. Okay, You moved from Australia to Berlin.
I moved from Melbourne to Berlin January 14th, 2016.
I was in August.
I win.
August. You win.
And you went straight to this little shitty town to do your masters.
No, I went to Munich to do an internship. And then to Darmstadt and then to Berlin.
And how long was it before? Were you already doing comedy in India?
No. I started in Darmstadt.
I love I love the stories of Indian women coming to Germany and ended up doing comedy. Like, I think it's like, I'm an Australian woman that, left Australia and ended up doing comedy in Germany. But I love it because the Anshita, you and Abi, you guys are like, I love how violent your comedy is. Like, I love it. Like, my comedy is extremely dark, I love combining death with sex and just the how much danger is in women's lives and and sexual education, reproduction, all of this stuff. And I love all three of you guys, how raw, like balls to the wall your stuff is. It's great.
I think it's like because we grew up in such a regressive patriarchy that when you come here, and I don't know if you would have done this back in India too. I've never been in the comedy scene there, so I don't know what it's like, but I think it's when you grow up in an environment that just sort of pushes you down and you have no escape, and then you come here where you have like, you start to find your voice, and then it's just like no boundaries, no barriers, which is so liberating. What about you? What's the scene in Australia?
The scene I've been back twice since I moved here, and each time I did comedy, and I do like the scene. There's some great people. It's getting bigger and bigger. Like, I think the pandemic also, really heated up the scene quite a bit, and there's even more comics. Haven't been back since the pandemic hit, but I've said this a few times, and I don't want it to sound like a criticism of Australia or Australians, but it's also the same in the UK. And I think if and when I go to the States, I will also have this criticism. It's that when you're in a native English-speaking country, the comedy, because everyone can access it, the comedy becomes very... People want really local references, and they want this sort of self-reference based comedy. And what I love about Europe is that everyone is in, like, yes, you have some local references, but you can't talk just about, you know, you don't, like, in most audiences here, we have tourists, we have people from, you know, other cities. You can't just talk about the different neighborhoods of Berlin and specific things about Berlin. Like, you've got to make it universal. And there's a I don't want to use the word purity because that's, you know, highly politically problematic in Germany, but there's a universality to the comedy that you do in Europe, because no one shares exact cultural references except the references that everyone in the world can share. So there might be a little bit more European. Of course, there's a European flavor to it, because instead of like different cities, we've got different countries, and so there's national stereotypes. But yeah, I really love how universally you can talk. Whereas when you're in Australia, it's like a lot of comedians are really just, and it's fine, but I'm less interested in that really specific self-referential, you know, geographically situated comedy.
Yeah, because I totally agree.
Yeah.
I don't think it can, because maybe the dream is, or what more comedians aim towards, is to get there 40 minutes or an hour and then start traveling. Yeah. And then if 25 minutes out of your hour are about Neukölln,
exactly,
you won't be able to go outside Neukölln.
Like, you can, but people will just be like, who is this Neukölln?
Is that your ex? That's
she sounds dirty. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but I do want to go to India and try out the scene, because there's a lot of comedy there. It's really exploding.
Yeah. You should do it. No, I don't know if I would do it.
It's a bit, I think I get the feeling from, like, when I've spoken to Abby about it, for example, that there's a bit of fear around it. Like, it's not a very comfortable space to do, like, our kind of comedy, like feminist comedy in India.
Yeah. I don't know. I watch a lot of Indian comics on YouTube, and I admire them so much, because there are a few comedians, female comics, who are just going for it, you know. And sometimes I see their video and I personally find them so funny, and I can see them struggling on stage because the crowd is not comfortable with what they're saying, and they still like go for it. But I think that's the fun. I mean, how cool would it be to do all your dirty jokes and make a crowd comfy with that? And I think that's part of the art.
I agree, and that also connects to the German comedy thing too. It's like, like being able to bring people into your world enough for them to feel comfortable, to laugh at this stuff that's confronting, and like, generally speaking, like what you wouldn't bring up at a dinner party.
Or maybe you would.
I would.
After a few drinks.
Not even
just start the party with.
Exactly. I've always enjoyed seeing other people uncomfortable with topics. Like, it's the most, I think that's a comedian mentality as well. Yeah. It's like, I want to push it and see how, like, what's
Where
gonna
is
happen?
the line?
Exactly.
Is there a line? Let's push the line this year a little more.
Exactly. Oh my God, yes. So what's your, what do you, well, okay, maybe we can go into adults only stuff. So you've got a boyfriend, and you've had the same boyfriend the whole time in Germany?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know. I tend to stay in long-term relationships.
That's great. I had that tendency as well.
You had that, yeah?
Yeah, like from the age of 18 through to 32.
Same.
I pretty much always had boyfriends. I had like a period of, that period, 18 to 32, I think I ended up having maybe 8 months of single time.
Yeah.
Which is, not enough.
Yeah.
So I'm making up for it now. That's what I'm saying. I'm finding myself. Like, now I know what I like to do genuinely.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely know what I like to do. Because for years, you know, when you're in long-term relationships, it's like, you end up, like, all of your habits are connected to that ex or this partner or whatever.
Definitely.
And it's like, what do I like? And, you know, listening, what do I feel like doing right now?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. How old are you?
I'm 26 since 1 year. So I'm like,
almost 27.
yeah.
That's great.
I don't know.
Do you want to
It just gets worse from here. I don't know. It's what I think in my head, you know?
You think that was good before? It's gonna get better.
Is it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'm like, yeah.
Why
Maybe
do
you get.
Why
yeah.
do you think it's getting worse?
I don't know, because I think that, I don't know, when you're a child, you sort of associate certain ages with a certain period in your life. Like, you just think, oh, when I'll be 22, I'll be this person. When I'll be 24, I'll be this person. When I'll be 28, I'm going to be this person. And then the closer you come to that age and you see how far you actually are from what you thought you would be, it's just like, I don't know anymore about life.
Interesting, but you're holding yourself to these ideas that you had when you were younger about who you wanted to be. But hasn't your idea of who you want to be changed? And that's why you're somewhat in a different place?
Yeah. But like, I feel like but like the major idea remained the same. Like, I wanted to have it all together. So whether...
And why are you doing comedy? Come on, babe.
No.
It's like the hardest thing to have it all together. Yeah, it's really like, I feel like being a comedian, it's like, it kind of, there's no direct path to like becoming a full-time comedian. Like, it's loosely, but you know, it takes, you don't know who you're going to meet, who you're going to collaborate with, where it's going to work, what stuff happens in your, like, I don't know.
Do you wake up sometimes and do you just think, why am I even doing comedy? How long are you doing comedy?
On bad days, it usually doesn't last for more than an hour or so, and it's usually when I've been in environments that I feel like that didn't feel supportive, so I didn't feel connected to the community. It's in those moments. I've been doing comedy now. This is my 5th year.
Wow.
Well, I started in January 2018, so yeah, in January 2023 it'll be 5 years. But I've been producing since the start of 2019, or the summer of 2019, and so we're in 2022 now. But
and you've got a lot of shows.
Yeah,
you're like 5 days a week or more.
The shows that I actually produce and host, I have like every Monday, every Sunday, and then I have like 2 Fridays a month, a Saturday a month, and then there's another one.
So that's a lot.
There's I forget what else, but I only feel like, why did I start doing comedy? Why am I even doing this? Only when, like, there's certain shows that I've stopped doing because I feel like I just don't feel supported there, and I don't feel I had 2 shows in the last year, and afterwards I was like, why am I even doing comedy? And there's something in the psychology with myself, there's a history there with the venue, with the producers, and it was funny, the second time it happened, like, I was riding home crying after the set, like crying. It's so great. Whenever I'm crying on my bike, it also rains, so it's like no one can tell.
So it's so romantic. Do you choose the time?
It just happens like
just
that.
Happens.
Like, I start crying, it's like, it starts raining, I'm like,
so
okay.
cute, such a Parisian feeling.
Except riding through Vetting and being like past like industrial sites, but it was funny because in this moment, and then the next day I was so depressed, and the next day I was looking through my notebook where I write down like all my sets, and I write down how much money I made, and I write down if I hosted or whatever, and I realized that in that like week I had earned the most money in comedy that I'd earned like ever. And yet I was questioning, and money
so
isn't
cool.
the thing.
Yeah.
But it is a bit like when you're a small time, you know, like we're in Berlin, like making money from comedy isn't the easiest thing. And I'd made like a bunch of money that week, and yet I was doubting even doing it. So, but those are the only times I ever question it. But it and the sort of waking up and feeling this surreal thing of like, I'm a comedian, or like when I meet people and they ask me what I do, and it's like, oh, like sometimes it hits me, and other times it just feels so normal. But other times it's like, or when you tour, you know, and you go to another city, and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm a comedian. People are like, wow, really? It's like, yeah, it's so weird. But
Is it weird, or is it just like you just get like this reality check?
It's a reality check, yeah. It's like, I just never expected to be in this place. I never expected. And but it goes, there are occasional moments where it's surreal, then it's becoming more and more normal. But you question why you're doing it, or what?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think because you talked about having it all together and why did you choose comedy? I think we all have...
You don't choose comedy.
What?
You don't choose comedy.
Yeah, comedy chooses you.
Yeah, totally.
Do you think so?
I think so.
Yeah?
If you really want it, if it hits you, you can't choose what's inside you. Like, you can't choose what you like.
Yeah.
You can't.
You can't. You just like some stuff.
You can't. Yeah, it's like your parents, your environment, what you've been exposed to, and just like something weird inside, like how your DNA, whatever. That's what dictates what you like. And if comedy is something, you can get damaged away from doing something that you love. So some people have a really hard time with comedy and just can't. But I think I don't think you choose it. No.
Insane, because that's how I started doing comedy. I actually went to a women empowerment conference.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I just wanted to go home. I was made to come there because a friend was attending, and I just got her text. She was like, you have to come, you have to come, you have to come. And I was just an intern in Munich, and I was just like, I just want to go home. But I was staying at her home because and then I was like, okay, I mean, fine, maybe I get a ride back home in her car, because we lived like so close together. I lived so close by. And then I was like, okay, I'll go attend. And then the person who was hosting the conference, he just made us all sit in a circle and do an exercise where we had to come to the center of the room. There was going to be like a basket full of papers with a word in it. And I had to come there, pick it up, and talk on that word for like 3-4 minutes.
Yeah.
And he just...
3-4 minutes is a long time.
Yeah.
There's some comedy improv shows that do this, which is,
it's like a speaking exercise, or
I forget what there's a name for the show concept that does this, but yeah, go on.
And then he just introduced this concept as soon as it was my turn, because before that he was just asking everyone to introduce themselves, and I was like, okay, that's easy, I can just talk about myself, that's fine. Easy. But to come there and pick up this word and talk about it, and then the word that I picked up was called fear. And then I was like, okay, and then I had to talk 3 minutes. So I just talked about the day, that day at work, where my biggest fear was people who were super intimidating, which was the receptionist of my office. Like, she had the kind of face that a receptionist should not have. She was like super super German, and she had received some letters from me, and I just had to take them back, and she had opened those letters, and it was like a whole thing, because my coworkers were saying, she's not allowed to open your letters, it's like a crime in Germany, a sin to open someone's letter. What the fuck, she opened your letter? Yep. You have to go and confront her. And then I had to go and confront her, and I was so scared. And then it was just, I forget like the whole experience, but as I was talking about it, everybody in the room started laughing. And the host, after that, later on, came up to me and said, actually, I'm a stand-up comedian, and I think you should definitely try doing stand-up comedy.
Fantastic.
Because it seemed like you were enjoying telling the story, and you were very much in the moment, and it was so natural that I think in comedy, that's gold. Yeah. That's what he said. And I just tried it afterwards, and now here we are.
Fuck yeah, that's a beautiful origin story. I love that.
Yeah, it's like kind of cute.
And it starts with fear as well.
Which is comedy is that, right? It's like it's like a big fear. It's like confronting your fears and your and your past fear, if you can tie fear to trauma as well. It's like so much of comedy is it's not trauma dumping, it's trauma processing, so that other people can feel like they're not alone in their fucked upness as well, which is the most beautiful thing about comedy, just like releasing your fears and traumas when you listen to it. And then another thing that I just wanted to add on your thing about being in long-term relationships and just like trying to find out like who or how do you want to spend your time. I feel like this time, in this long-term relationship, which is my third one, what I'm trying to do is just like trying to do what I would anyway do, and then just like trying to set boundaries. Like, okay, now this is me time, and like, please, and it's hard, especially when you live together, to set boundaries. But like, I think it's just the understanding that you build with your partner.
That sounds great. That sounds really good. That sounds healthier than a lot of relationships that I had. I did try to do that, but yeah, it depends on the person. It depends on the dynamic. But yeah, that's good that you're.
But it's hard.
That.
I do a lot of other toxic stuff too, so I don't think it makes up.
We all, it's crazy. Like, I talk about all of my not all of them, but like a lot of my previous relationships were quite unhealthy. Like, at least the last.
Mine too, yeah. I think that's why we're comedians.
I think so.
Yeah.
And so, but I know that the thing is, when a relationship has been unhealthy, I have also contributed to that unhealthiness. Like, it wasn't like they weren't monsters. Like, we were monsters together. And
like 50-50. It's like your evil meets their evil.
Totally. Actually, I was speaking to Dan Stern. I was having one of my many moments that I've had in the last 2 years where I get to a show and I'm like, my life is great. I just miss love. I miss being in love. Why can't I be in love again? I'm so tired of not being in love. Like, why? And he was like, okay, so let's talk about the kind of guys you're going for. And I was like, okay, I feel like I'm getting real help here. And he was like, the best, like, one of the important things that people don't talk about with relationships is that you need to balance each other's evil. So like, one person is going to be a worse person than the other. And so maybe in your past relationships, you've been with people that were like, you were too good and they were too evil, or the other way around. And I'm like, I don't know.
That makes sense. Yeah, you have to share your evils so it doesn't like...
So it doesn't become this
big evil.
Yeah. So like with my ex-husband, like, I think I've got a bit of evil in me, but he really enjoyed the evil. Like, he was, and I think, I don't know, I haven't quite figured out, like, analyzed how this would work. Because I would think that if someone's, like, I think I'm a good person, but the more I I reflect on that, and the more I'm doing comedy, so the more honest I am with myself, because it comes out, and I have like I have some people to compare it with. So it's like, oh, I'm the only one talking about cheating on my exes, or I'm the only one. You get with comedy, you get this direct feedback loop, and so it's like, oh, that is who I am. Oh, and I think
that is hilarious,
right? And I think I am bad compared to like I.
But it's okay to be bad.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah, I think it's totally fine to be bad. You can't... See, if you know you're bad, that's actually good.
Oh my God.
Don't you think? Don't you think so? Like, yeah, you're bad, but you know it, and that sort of makes up for being bad. And so you can just...
Because I can like, the thing is, I will address the bad stuff that I've done, right? Like, I will always acknowledge it, and I don't like deny it. I don't gaslight people. I gaslight myself, where I'm like, I'm not bad, but no, like, there's, I do stuff. I do, like, there's tendencies that, like, the death drive and the
death drive.
The death drive.
What's that?
Like, it's like the death drive. It's it sounds like something from Star Wars.
It's like death drive.
I might be calling it incorrectly, but and who was it? I think it was Sigmund Freud, who, like, no one likes, right? Like, no females like him. But this idea that I forget who it was. This idea that we subconsciously want to kill ourselves, like. Sometimes we consciously want to kill ourselves, but like the idea that we engage in behaviors and we get excited unconsciously or subconsciously because it's dangerous and it could kill us.
Maybe not all of us, maybe just some of us.
Or like, it depends. I think maybe it's to do with how much work you've done on your trauma. But there's like, certain, we all, the idea is that we all have this kind of drive to, like, subconscious drive to danger.
Yeah.
Like roller coasters.
That I can understand. Yeah, maybe. Okay, cool. I didn't know that before. That's a good...
Or like wanting to, like the appeal of having sex with someone without contraception.
Ooh.
What, are you on contraception? If you don't want to answer, that's totally
No,
fine.
I'm not.
You're not on
I'm
contraception?
not on
Fuck yes. I support you
Yeah,
entirely.
you do.
Hormonal contraception
you.
and all the things that we're told
Yeah,
to
it
put in
changes.
ourselves.
Yeah, it just changes your body, and so I don't know. It's not a thing because in Germany, girls are like on contraception since they're 16
Yes.
or whatever.
Same in
and,
Australia. Yeah.
Okay, and it's not because you can't have sex in India before marriage, so it's like not a thing. And after marriage, you're supposed to have kids, so nobody's promoting contraception at all.
Yeah.
So when I came here and I got to know that's what's happening, I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think it's too much. I don't want to change my body like that. It just seems so intense. So I'm missing the word. Like so intense,
Intense is
harsh,
good. It's
aggressive
it's
is the
aggressive,
word
yeah.
that I'm looking for.
And it's just like it's such a massive like taking all the responsibility of not getting pregnant and like changing your entire body makeup, like changing
Yeah.
your hormones. Like,
Yeah.
how dare anyone suggest that we take
Yeah.
like you take hormones to deal with seriously like if you want
Mental health issues.
Yeah.
I should probably take some pills for that.
you reckon what kind of mental health issues do you think you
I
have?
think it could be, I think ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
bipolar. It's a funny thing. Have you ever like Googled your symptoms and you just think you have all of them?
I've Googled bipolar many times and I realize I'm not bipolar, but
Okay.
I sometimes feel when I'm feeling extreme, like I'll have dips, waves of where I get very, very, very down. Next year, I'm going to try taking vitamin D in winter. I've never done that before.
And what is that? Is that for a mental illness?
It's just because we like the sun. The sun gives us vitamin D, and vitamin D really does help your mental stability apparently. And usually once a year, like I have dark moments, here and there, but usually every January I get really dark.
Yeah.
And this year it was February, and so I'm going to try next year to take vitamin D. But yeah, so it's in these moments where I sometimes, I would say like once or twice a year, I will genuinely consider suicide.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Around January.
Yeah, it's always January, February.
January is the worst month.
So
It is. I had this conversation with a friend. January is officially the worst month of the whole year
I hate
because yeah, me too. It's like because in December you still have Christmas and lights and glühwein.
And New Year coming up as
Yeah.
well. And I love
Yeah.
New Year so much. And,
Yeah.
and Christmas is fine.
Yeah,
but in
and
January,
nothing. You should invent a holiday for January.
I think everyone should just have to leave Northern Europe
Yeah.
in January
I
for a
mean,
bit.
that's why so many dark crimes happen in Europe. Have you like the history is just like that's why they went to other countries and traumatized us because they were so fucked up here in January.
Someone recently said all wars start in February in
Or,
Europe.
yeah, I can totally believe that.
I could believe it too. I that hasn't been fact checked, and I believe the person who said it also had not fact checked that. But I can believe it if that's
Living here for 6 years, I can totally
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah.
Like January, people go crazy, and Feb they start colonizing other
Yeah.
countries.
Yeah,
I
right.
think the East India Company probably came in February.
probably.
Maybe. Yeah, it could be. I wanted to ask you, have you ever, because if you're looking for love and you have a show called Adults Only Comedy where all adults are coming on the weekend in like a good mood, have you ever been hit on by an audience member?
Yeah.
And is it like, are they cool looking guys who are hitting or are they just weirdos?
Look, they're all wonderful people.
Wow, that's but I sense a but coming, but that's such a sweet start to the sentence.
But the thing is, when you host shows, and you've got your own show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got a part like a boyfriend, but when you're hosting a show, there's a different power dynamic between you and the audience. So you, as a host, as a producer, you've got to make them happy pretty much the whole time. Like that's your job. And so there's a real power imbalance. If someone's hitting on you when you're the host, it's like, dude, I'm being nice to you because that's my job right now.
Yeah, you're not floating.
Well, like I'm dirty as fuck, and I like can sound like I'm flirting, but it doesn't mean. And I can do crowd work that sounds like, yeah, we can fuck later. But like, of course, then I just like, I say goodbye and that's the end of the show. But when I do sets,
I thought you said when I do sex.
Yeah, right? No,
Yeah.
well, sometimes they coincide. No, but if I'm at someone else's show and I do a set and someone hits on me afterwards, it's usually, yeah, I've been more open to going with that when I'm not in that position of power, when it's just like they saw me perform and they liked it and it wasn't like I was just doing my own thing. I don't have to be friendly to them.
Have you ever been on a date with a follow-up date with an audience member that hit on you after a set?
Yeah. I was seeing a guy at the end of last year and he kind of saved my January, but because of him, not because of him, but because of how that ended, my February was February that got dark and like super depressing.
Yeah.
So,
and also with Valentine's Day, it sucks.
I didn't even feel Valentine's Day this year.
Oh, okay. Were you so numb?
It was actually a beautiful Valentine's Day. I was aware of it being Valentine's Day, but I didn't feel lonely at all because I actually met up with an audience member, a woman who, at Inside Jokes, where we workshop joke ideas, I'd started working on this idea about freezing my eggs because I'm 35. My mom's like, you should freeze your eggs. You should freeze your eggs. I want your grandchildren, Anna. And so I was working on this bit, and there were two women in the audience, and they got really affected by this joke development and writing and the jokes that the dudes on the panel were saying as well. And they were like, look, it's a really sensitive issue. And they felt really triggered. We talked and it was all good and it was really insightful. And then one of them was like, hey, let's talk after the show. And then she was like, let's meet up for a wine. I had my eggs frozen. I know all the information. She's German as well. She's like, I have spreadsheets about all the costs.
I love Germans and the spreadsheets.
Me too. I think
it's just I hate it when they expect me to make it. It's like
I've started making spreadsheets.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
You're integrating.
I really am. And I get joy from the spreadsheets. So I spent Valentine's Day first having a glass of wine with this woman, telling me all the information about the egg freezing process, the emotional impact, financial, everything, super interesting. And then I went to the same show, the Inside Jokes, and I hung out, had a really lovely show with my male comedian friends, and then went to New York Comedy and just like boys on boys on boys, just talking shit. And I had such a nice Valentine's Day. I didn't feel for a second
amazing.
Like I was missing anything.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's how it should be.
Did you celebrate with your boyfriend?
What did we do? Oh yeah, we went for dinner at 8 and then we were in bed by 9.
That's living the life.
That is I like it. It's a very boring, basic life, which is so contrary to the stuff I do on stage or on Instagram. Yeah. But I like it that way because I know that there are people out there suffering and I want to be part of that. Like, I want to be part of that crowd.
You want to be part of the people that are suffering?
Yeah, because I was suffering before. I am suffering in so many other areas of my life. And so I just like want to I don't want to talk about happy stuff. I don't want to make stuff for happy people. No. It's like not my audience.
You were really in the right country for doing doing comedy. Like, don't go, to the south of Europe.
No,
for
LA,
comedy.
no.
They're too happy.
No, they're too happy and racist also. South of Germany. Yeah.
South of Germany. Oh, I mean like South Europe, because when I performed in Italy or when I was in Tenerife 2 weeks ago, such happy audiences. They were just already happy. So making them laugh was so easy.
Yeah, I think we should give ourselves some credit for making Germans laugh.
Really?
Right?
They're tough crowds.
I also had another question for so when you went on a date with somebody from your audience, were they expecting to see the Anna on stage?
I don't know what they were expecting.
So, but did you feel this vibe where where okay, they maybe like the person who I am on stage, but who you are on stage is a part of you.
Or it's an exaggerated part.
Yeah, an exaggerated part of you, but not the whole you. And if they fell in love with you or had a crush on you with a certain part of you, do they expect you to bring that part in everyday life?
I don't know. Like, the thing is, the guy that I was seeing, like the two how many guys have I seen after shows? I think I was seeing one German guy and then this Romanian guy, and they only really saw me at one show, and then I think they were satisfied with what I brought off stage. But I think that one of the main things that's difficult is people accepting that I do comedy every night. And like I'm seeing this new guy who I didn't meet at a show.
You're a woman of the night.
I'm a woman of the. I work a lot. Like I work a lot. Like if you're producing that many shows, I'm doing a lot of marketing. So during the days, like there will be periods where I have to work. Like I don't have a day off.
Yeah.
You know, and that's fine. Like I will take periods of the day off, but. And then nights, I do try and take a night off, but I also make music and.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. That's so cool.
It's fun, yeah. We're almost we're just finishing the final edits of our first album, and then we're gonna be able to push it out. But yeah, so I do try and take like a night off for music, and then a night off for social stuff. But like honestly, the night off for social stuff usually. Like, for example, this week, I'm seeing this guy and he wants to go to the movies. And I was like, yeah, let's do it on Tuesday. And then I forgot that I asked for a spot at Laughing Spree. So I'm on Laughing Spree. And then I was like, Wednesday. And then I didn't realize. And then I got the message today from Darkest Thoughts that like I've got a spot there. And I'm like, oh, they've got a new venue. Like, I want to do that. And every other night, I've already got shows booked. And it's just like, I want to go to the movies. But honestly, Batman is not as important to me as comedy.
Yeah. I totally get that.
Yeah. So I think the issue with people liking me from comedy is them then realizing that, yeah, I do need to start, making a bit of time if I want a relationship, but I'm always free after my shows, and like...
Come fuck me later.
Exactly. Like, fuck me later after shows for at least the first 3 months, and then I'll start taking time off for you.
Yeah.
Like, one night a week, I could do that.
Yeah.
Earn it.
Could you?
Could I?
Could you 1 night a week?
I'm not bad with breakfasts, Like,
yeah, breakfast is a good time.
Right? Like, come over and then we can have the date just in reverse. And then occasionally we could do something, like if I do an early show, then I can do dinner and a movie for sure.
Yeah, a movie that starts at 10.
Exactly.
After you've done 2 shows, first half.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think that's the main issue for men.
Yeah, it's also something that I'm working out in my relationship because it's like you never have time because I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
And I love my job because it's in fashion. I love fashion.
Great.
And then I do social media content creation, and I don't think people realize that creating content is actually a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
And editing, posting, creating, and thinking of ideas, and then stand-up comedy, producing shows, marketing them, batch creating content because I do Twitter, TikTok, not LinkedIn.
Why not though? Why not?
I do LinkedIn for my work, but Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and it's already a lot of different stuff. Photo shoots, video shoots. I also don't have a lot of time, and I hear this a lot, but that's what I mean. Like, even if you're in a long-term relationship, you just like have to sometimes set boundaries because like, I don't know. It's like, I don't think about getting married or having kids or any of that.
You're still young
stuff.
though.
27.
I got married when I was 27, but
would you recommend it to your listeners?
No, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you want to do it, I like all power to you. But I don't see the point unless you're getting papers. And then even if you're getting papers, I think the story that I'm hearing the most at the moment for why to get married is that you have a baby and claiming paternity. So like claiming fatherhood for a child is quite a bit of work. And so just getting married before the baby comes out means you don't have to do that. The father doesn't have to claim paternity.
It sounds so complicated.
I
zoned out a little.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if you get pregnant, I'd say get married so that way that dude has to be responsible for the baby.
Or if you want to abort, you can also just have an abortion.
You can also have an abortion. Yeah. I'm at the point where if I got pregnant now, I really, like, my mum would be like, Anna, you cannot, like, you want a child, why would you abort it? But I'm also like, at this point in my career where I'm like, give me 2 more years and I'll be more established and stable, and bringing a child into the world won't slow me down as much. It'll be just like, okay.
And that's fair for you and the child, to be honest.
It is. But I'm old, so like 35, my eggs are already, getting pretty lazy and less of them. And so if I do want to get pregnant in 2 years' time, it is going to be harder. Like, scientifically speaking, it's going to be much harder for me to get pregnant and maybe not possible.
I hate this about our bodies. I mean, I love our bodies, but it's like, why doesn't there have to be like a bloody clock that we have to think about? Men are not thinking about that. No. It's so insane.
Yes.
They're not going crazy once a month for 5 days.
I love my body and like my hormones and I love the whole thing a lot. I love menstruating. I love all of that. What I really resent though is that there's no information. Like, there's a lot of, and this is what this woman who I met up with on Valentine's Day talking about eggs said. She's like, it makes me so angry that people have this idea that you can easily get pregnant at 40 because they see a few women that have had that happen. But the statistics, and if you look for every woman that got pregnant at 40, there is like, she was like, there's like hundreds of women who destroyed their lives through the fertility, IVF, trying to get pregnant. Depression, like the amount of money it takes to go through that.
It's pretty expensive, right?
Like, Germany's cheap compared to the States. Like, for example, to freeze your eggs, basically, we've got to wrap this up. To freeze your eggs, basically, in Europe, it's around 7,000 euro.
Wow.
And then it's about 500 euro a year to store the eggs in the freezer. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. And then in the States, though, it's like 20,000.
Okay.
$20,000.
Wow, I can't even think about it.
Now, the thing that makes her angry and makes me angry now is that there's this whole thing of, you can get pregnant at 40. Oh, it happens. No. Also, it's that your eggs start deteriorating or like get less, reduce. The best time to freeze your eggs is when you're 25. So why the fuck are people not telling us this? Why is this whole conversation of fertility only really starting to come into women's heads when they hit 33, 34, when already that's getting to a point where the eggs are far from their best state? So it's like, why aren't we encouraging young women to freeze their eggs?
Why is it not part of our health insurance?
Exactly.
If you want women in the workforce, why are you not contributing the taxes that everybody pays for women to help freeze their eggs so that they can work longer and in turn contribute to the economy and
contribute to the population later.
And contribute to the fucking population later to get the fucking human race running along with your bloody business.
Exactly.
That is so insane. Okay, that's a great note to wrap.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up. Amazing. Yeah, fuck yeah. I'm like tingling with like, good. All right. Would you like to plug anything?
I have a show, Hose of Berlin.
Yeah.
And the info is on my Instagram. It's Gauri B.
And that's GAURIB.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. If you don't follow my Instagram yet, please do that. I'm going to start advertising that at the start of these recordings. Cool. So that has been Adults Only Comedy Berlin. Thank you so much, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Amazing.